up, my survivor thrivers? It is me, authentically Regina B, and I am back with another video about my therapy workbook journey. So I'm going to be going over days 1 through 3 with you guys, and then the final day for this chapter is actually going to be on a 4th day, and I'm going to do that one tomorrow, obviously, but I'm going to leave that one for just its own video so that I can try to cut down on some time. And I'm really excited about that because this week has, like I said, only had 4 days worth of work. So I feel like it's going to be easier for me to be able to cut down the video length for you guys, because I know that the brain can only absorb what the seat can endure. So, you know, I'm definitely trying to get out of here, reminder. So I'm definitely going to be trying to do that with you. Today is Monday, October 11th. It is a gloomy day, so I want to try something. I'm gonna do it right here on here. I had to sit right here because this cord is short. It's like a lighting thing. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. What about that? You're gonna see the glare in my eyes. What about that? Okay, I'm just playing with this. Sorry that I probably should have did that before, but oh, this is something. Okay, warm. I like it. I don't like the glare in my eye, but okay, it did. Because it's a gloomy day outside. It's actually just 2 o'clock. And it's raining here where I live in Missouri. So, you know, I remembered that I had bought this from TJ Maxx like a really long time ago, and I've never used it. So I went ahead and got it and set it up. So cool. Okay. Hey. Okay, let me stop. So we're gonna get started with this one. Retrain your brain, cognitive behavioral therapy in 7 weeks. As we know, it's by Dr. Seth Gillihan, and we are on week 2, days 1 through 3 is what I'm gonna be sharing with you. Excuse me. I have been doing the daily activities like he suggested in last week's to continue to keep that going this week. So I have been doing that. And so let's see. I had to scribble scrabble. So I covered the values with you guys. And I actually, when I filled out the form in this book, I did it completely wrong. I think I was overthinking the values. And so the things that I was writing, it was just not possible for me to then write an activity with it. So in my little trusty journal, I did go ahead and redo it. So let me share with you guys what my values are. So values and activities form. So in my relationship, I value great conversation. And then the second value is acceptance and encouragement. Excuse me. The next one is education and career, and I value learning. And then the second value is continued growth. Physical health, my value was being active. And the second one was balancing good and bad habits. Recreation and relaxation values was having time to reflect. And then the second value was going new places. And domestic responsibilities, my value is feeding my family good food and keeping things moderately clean. Because there was a time when I used to just be like, it's always messy, especially when we were doing quarantine. Just to explain why I say moderately clean and not like pristine clean. And I had to realize that this is a lived-in home. Like I have children, they're free-range children. They're all over the place. And I was just driving myself crazy by feeling like everything had to be in its place. So yes, I keep things moderately clean, but I understand that when the 2 Live crew come home from school, everything is just gonna go back to being, you know, doll over here, shoe over there, this over there, crumb over there, you know. So in order to not drive myself crazy for domestic responsibilities, I put moderately clean as one of my second values. So let's go ahead and hop into what he's gonna have us do for day 2. Let me keep that open because I'm gonna need it. So day 2. Okay, here is day 2. And so remember in the last video, if you don't understand what I'm talking about with this values part that I just filled out, in the last video, the introduction to week 2 is also a part of day 1. So he kind of explains what values are, and I explained that in my last video as well, but I also explained that I was going to do this separately because I really needed to take some time and think about what my values were in each area. So yeah, go back and check out that last video, and it'll be giving you an in-depth explanation of why we're focusing on values and what we're doing with that. So next, the next thing he has you do actually is activities. So we're going to skip down, and it says, now it's time to think about what activities fall under each value. These activities may be things that are both enjoyable and important. For example, going to a park with your family. Other activities might be high on enjoyment and low on importance, like watching a good movie. Many daily responsibilities are high on importance and don't provide a lot of enjoyment, like doing the dishes. These examples are for illustration purposes. You'll decide for yourself what's enjoyable and important. And so this is a quote by Carl W. Lejuez, Lejuez. The key to a depression-free life is to develop healthier patterns of behavior where each day contains important and or enjoyable activities that help you feel fulfilled and as if your life has a purpose. So yeah, activities that are low on both enjoyment and importance are by definition not ones that fit your values. As with values, the activities you choose don't have to be epic. In fact, it's better if they're not. We don't need grand gestures when we're depressed and anxious, just small, simple steps. For example, Kat's completed list for physical health look like this. And this really, really helped me. That's why I had to go back through and like just do it in my journal like I was doing anyway. So as you can see, it says physical health, enjoying good food was a value, and feeling fit and strong was a value. So notice that Kat's activities are specific enough that she'll know when she's done them, as opposed to loosely defined goals like get in shape or learn to cook. Activities that are too vague can feel unmanageable, which can lower our motivation to do them. Vaguely defined activities also don't give us a clear sense of when we've completed them. Rather than having a sense of accomplished, we foster the nagging feeling that there's always more I could do. Yeah, that's how I was feeling about, keeping my house like in order and everything together. Cause it was just like, oh, there's so much more I could pick up. Look at that over there. Look at that over there. And it really was bringing my mood down. It was bringing on depression. So when we define clear and manageable activities, we're more likely to complete them and to feel good about having done them. You don't have to come up with all new activities. Definitely include ones you're doing already if you want to do them more often. These activities can provide a good starting point as you build more rewarding activities into your schedule. Also, don't feel pressure to completely finish your activities list now. Take some time to brainstorm a few activities for each life domain. It's helpful to start the list and then come back to it later. You'll almost certainly have more ideas when you come back to it later in the week. So that's day 2. So for each of the areas, as you saw in the worksheet, now we go back through and we list the activities under the values. So under great conversations with relationships, the value was great conversation. So I put activity could be call, visit a friend, an activity, go on a date with my husband, activity, talk to a stranger in line. Just bring up, something good to talk about to someone you don't know. Values, acceptance, and encouragement. So an activity is always try to see a different perspective. And that means like when I'm engaging with somebody doing these top 3 ones, try to see things from their perspective or from a different perspective. Embrace the differences of others and be vulnerable enough to be my authentic self. Education and career learning, finish books on different hobbies or things I want to learn about, watch video or Google editing tips, take a virtual Apple course on just understanding my iPad and my iPhone. Continued growth, keep doing the workbooks, keep doing Bible app plans, and just watching different speakers. Physical health, being active, run, which I already do. I do want to start going to an actual yoga class instead of just practicing it by myself, and walking, and then balancing good and bad habits, intermittent fasting. I want to stay hydrated, and I do want to stop. Don't judge me. I do want to stop smoking. Like, I don't smoke all day. I only smoke at night. So, recreation and relaxation. Don't judge me. In the same measure you judge another, the same measure is what God judges you back with. Okay, values, having time to reflect, for relaxation and recreation, having time to relax, continuing to read my Bible, start a yoga practice, start a meditation practice, going to new places, go to a new restaurant, find out about local events, run a race, which I told you guys in another video. September 25th, I ran in a 5K race, and it was really, really fun. It was nerve-wracking because I was by myself, so it definitely challenged my my social anxiety, but I did it. And so, you know, and going to a new restaurant would be challenging for me, definitely. So domestic responsibilities, value, feeding my family good food, cook something new, like find a new recipe or something and cook something different. I think I saw something on YouTube that I want to try. Make a dessert. I don't really make desserts, and my children are always asking us for dessert after dinner. And 3, eat at a good restaurant. Like, let's all go out to a good restaurant, different from what we normally go to. And then keeping things moderately clean, asking and having the kids help me to, you know, clean things up and pick things up. Straightening throughout the day is something that I continually do, and organizing closets and drawers, just so, like, I know that most people have a junk drawer, but our junk drawer is on 10. Almost every drawer is a junk drawer, because when I tell my children to pick, you know, kids don't want to throw their stuff away from school. So when I tell them to pick their papers up, I'm going to throw them in the trash. Obviously, they're like, no, I want it. And so they stuff it in a drawer in there. So yeah. That was that. And so then it says binding yourself to the mast is next. And so in Homer, I'm not going to read all that because he's talking about Homer's epic poem, the Odyssey. I will just read the last paragraph of that. But it says, this metaphor is perfect for CBT. We often know in advance what's going to challenge us to abandon our intentions. Armed with this knowledge, we can arrange our lives in ways that make it harder to do the things that aren't good for us. For example, having an exercise partner who's meeting us at the gym makes it less likely that we'll bail at the last minute when we feel like turning off the 5:30 a.m. alarm. Look for opportunities in your own life to practice this approach to increase the odds of doing what you want to do. So basically in the Odyssey, it's just saying that there was this storm that he wanted to look at, or there was a warbird, a song. He wanted to hear the song, but if you listen to the song too long, in this Odyssey, you die. So he told the men on his ship to tie him down and bind him, and that no matter how much he fought to try to listen to this song, to bind him all the more. So he's basically saying that metaphor can be used in our lives, that when we know we're about to do something challenging, plan ahead, you know. So that's what that means. So he says, review daily activities form. With the principle of this week's activity in mind, spend some time reviewing your daily activities form from the past week. What do you notice? How often are you doing activities that feel enjoyable and important to you? Are there gaps during the day, times when you aren't doing much of anything? Or is the opposite the case? Is particularly every moment crammed with activity with no time left to enjoy living? So for me, as I reviewed yesterday and today, let's see, I'll show you. This was 10-10. And I started noticing that, like, my activities form is pretty full. And then I did it again today. I'm going to fill the rest in because I'm at the 2 o'clock hour. But this was my morning, guys. And I'm always telling myself, like, oh, you know, I feel like because once quarantine season happened and everyone was staying home, it just kind of felt like I kind of started to take on the opinion that like, you're not doing anything. Because, people could stay home and they're working as well and they're doing these conference meetings. And so, when I'm working my workbook, I'm sitting down. I'm not moving about. I'm not doing anything. I'm not talking to anyone. And so I think I started to, in my mind, beat myself up like, you're not really doing anything. Or what have you done all day today? You haven't, look at the crumbs on the floor. You haven't really done the stereotypical stay-at-home mom things. And so I realized today, I was like, wait a minute. Like, in reviewing my activities, I am doing things. So, when he says to take a moment to write down your observations. And it's like, yeah, I am doing things. I'm not, from 5 to 6, I'm restless. I'm going to start just getting up eventually. 6 to 7, I'm up and out of bed. I got my daughter ready, Harper. I read some devotional emails, got Harper dropped off to she's joined the media group at school. So she's going to be doing like the elementary news shout outs and stuff. And then came back, did my Ava's hair, got her taken to the bus stop with my husband. And then from like the 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock hour, I did some Bible reading and some workbook stuff. So from basically the time I got out of bed from 6 to all the way to 9, 10 o'clock, I was doing stuff. And then even at 10, I was finishing up my reading. Then I started my run from like 11 to noon. So yeah, that's one of the things that I observed is like, no, you're doing stuff. So next, what they have you do for day 2 is where to begin. And it says, I won't show you that, but now that you've made your list of values-based activities, we can figure out where to begin. Go through your list of activities and place a 1, a 2, or 3 next to each activity based on its difficulty. The easier activities will be a 1, things you're probably doing already or could do without much difficulty. An activity is a 3 if it's hard to imagine tackling just yet. To ones that fall somewhere in the middle, give a 2. Like all of CBT, this part of the program will be progressive. You'll start by working your way through the ones. For this week, pick 3 of the easiest activities that interest you the most. Usually it's best if they come from different life areas to give yourself a variety of rewarding activities. So he had us go through and, we did the values and activities. So then he has us go through and rate them from 1 to 3, as you heard me say. And I did that. And so one of the things that I picked to do for this week is call or have a friend visit, which I have that set up and scheduled. That's actually something that's difficult for me to do. But right now it feels easy because my friend that I'm going to be meeting with, I haven't seen her or spoken to her in a really long time. And she is just my sister in Christ. And I miss her. The next thing I put down is, let's see, where is it? Here it is. So call, visit a friend. The next thing I put was take a yoga class. And the next thing I put down was go to a new restaurant. So then he said, write down the obstacles that may come. So going into, this is still day 2. So he had us write them down, but I wrote them down in my journal. And then next he says, as you look at the activities you plan for this week, think carefully about what might get in the way of each one. While we can't guarantee we'll do the things we planned, we can push the odds in our favor. One of the best ways to raise the odds is to make the activity manageable. Any small step in the right direction beats a big step not taken. So what I put down for the obstacles is with my friend coming over, overthinking the cleanliness of my home, just being like, oh, I got to make sure this is clean and that. And I'm a little embarrassed by that little stain over there. Procrastinating. I don't have a yoga carrier to carry my mat. My yoga mat needs to be clean. Too much thinking about who'll be there, how they'll look at me, if they'll be welcoming or if they'll be rude. I'll probably be socially awkward or anxious. So actually calling someone, and then the other thing about the class is having the money for the class, being able to pay my gym fee, which I handled that today. So as he said, how can I plan ahead? Call the billing office at the gym, wipe down my yoga mat, clean it up if it needs to be cleaned. If I don't have enough, now or before payday, I can find a studio and be able to afford that. Yeah, so that was my plan of action for being able to afford it. And then as far as the overthinking about this, basically being socially anxious, I put thinking the opposite thoughts. I don't know who will be there, but I'm going to enjoy the session regardless, and to just stay present in today's moment. So those were the things that I wrote down to kind of plan it out and see, hey, if I could go. So I did already call the gym. I went ahead and paid. I thought the bill was going to be way more than it was because I didn't pay for last month. So I thought it was going to be doubled, but it actually was affordable and I could afford it. So that was really awesome. So boom, that's taken care of. Then the next thing, like I said, I'm excited to see my friends. So any thoughts that I've been having about like, oh, clean this, that. First of all, she's not that type of person. She's not. She is such a kind-hearted individual. And even if she comes over and I point out stuff, she'll be like, stop it. And I'm excited to see her. So let's go. Let's see. We're at 21 minutes. Let's go to day 3, but we're about to be done with day 3. So he's going to talk about in day 3 the benefits of exercise. So I should be able to get through this really, really quickly. But he just says, I'm going to read this part. He's going to tell you why there are several explanations for why exercise might be beneficial for our psychological health. Exercise tends to improve sleep, and better sleep helps with pretty much everything. Exercise can distract us from negative thinking. When we're working hard physically, it's harder to focus on our problems. Exercise can lead to positive social contact if we're exercising with other people. And exercise can give us a sense of satisfaction from having done something good for ourselves. Whatever the reason, regular exercise can be an important part of a treatment plan for depression and anxiety. Yes, 3 years ago is when I became really into my running. And when I really wanted to I was like, I'm a runner. I want to shave down my time. I want to go extra distances. And that really, really helped me with my depression, with my anxiety, with my confidence to even sit here and be able to do this. You know, anybody that maybe knew me 5 years ago wouldn't be like, that's something that Regina's doing. So you can also benefit from carefully considering the reward value of each activity you plan. If an activity isn't enjoyable at the time, it needs to provide you with some satisfaction once it's done. Otherwise, it's probably in the category of not worth doing. So that's going into day 3. And so he says, finally, aim to create accountability. Accountability can be as simple as telling someone we're going to do something, like saying to our spouse, I'm going running in the morning. Well, we'll know that if we don't go, we're likely to be asked about it. Keeping records of your activities during this program also helps you give an account to yourself of how you're doing. To summarize, you're most likely to complete your planned activities when you make each activity specific and manageable, make each activity enjoyable and or important, plan a specific time for each activity, and build an accountability into plan. Add below any additional factors you know that are helpful to you. For example, focusing on one task at a time to prevent feeling overwhelmed. So additional comments for me for this was, as far as exercise, I am pretty good at getting a run in because I know how important it is for me. I tell myself it's not if I'm going to run, it's when am I going to run. Looking at my activities thus far, my mornings are actually busy. I think I'm hard on myself because I thought you've done a lot this morning. Maybe I've started thinking since I'm not going anywhere or logging on to a system, I'm not doing anything. That's simply not true. Since 7 a.m., I've completed 7 activities. So that was day 3. And then day 4, finally, what I'm going to do tomorrow is going to be the end of this week, and it's going to be the chapter check-in. Moving right along. Okay, so where did we leave off with this one? not today. Drip. Okay, yeah, day 6. So let's see. Okay, so I haven't uploaded with this video since the 5th. So I'm gonna go through the 6th with you guys. So filtered as every once in a while when you're reacting to a situation, the first words out of your mouth, your texting thumbs or your keyboard feels super cathartic to say in the moment, but are actually dumb as and will only make the situation worse. Instead of offering the potent version of what you wanted to say, how could you water it down? Can you take a pause, filter your reaction through a nice little mesh of composure, and come out with something of value? What I wanted to say, your behavior is sus and you're weird as to me. Likely result, argument, more insults. What I should say, nothing. Hopeful result, peace of mind, strength in restraint. Yes, because the situation that I was thinking about, it wasn't even important enough to say anything anyway. So it's just like, it's nothing I could say. And I did feel good about it. So drip, drop, and you don't stop. Poisoning your own thoughts and emotions is easy to do and frequently starts with just a slow drip of self-doubt. Yes, the more often you allow thoughts like, I'm not lovable, I'm not successful enough, or I'll never be good at splunking, okay, to seep into your everyday pool of emotion, you'll suddenly find that the whole well is poison. Write out a list of some of these negative emotional thoughts. No one cares about me. I'm always making the wrong choices. I'll never be normal. I'm not doing enough. I mess things up. Now, cross those mother out. Replace these negative thoughts with true positive statements about yourself. I am loved and cared for. I make good choices. I'm not normal, but I am extraordinary. I'm doing my best. It's impossible for me to mess things up. It's impossible. So the next day, which was the 8th, is not today, Satan. You can wake up in the morning and let the big bad demons in your life take over, or you can put on your special cape of positivity and power your way above, below, around, or through them. When have the first thoughts of your day given you anxiety? When I have been in some type of difficult situation and I feel like I didn't handle things the right way. What are positive thoughts that can help you blast up through them? Difficulties are temporary. I did what I did. I said what I said, and I'm still loved. Push through. Pray until something happens. PUSH. I've learned a new lesson and I'm stronger. So yesterday, 10:10, eat the ice cream. Eat the ice cream. Unless you're lactose intolerant. I love her. She's so hilarious. Okay, so it says, sometimes we ruin perfectly good things in the name of innovation or health to make ourselves feel better. Sure, diluting champagne with orange juice and giving it a fun name means you can drink before noon. Dumping stale gummy bears onto frozen yogurt helps distract us from the fact that it's not ice cream. And running in those toe sneakers can make you feel more connected to rocks on the ground. But none of these things are as good as the originals, and you die a little bit inside while doing them. What extra efforts do you make to feel virtuous? Are they worth it? I've had a really hard time with that one. So I put intermittent fasting and having new running shoes. For a minute there, I was obsessed with buying new running shoes. And, having new running shoes, yes and no, they are important, but most running shoes have a lifetime on them. Like, you don't need to have a whole bunch of them. And then the intermittent fasting, yes, that's important to me. And it is something that I do, and it does make me feel more virtuous, I guess. What could you stop trying to fix and just enjoy? Myself. Myself. There's something so human about taking something great and ruining it a little so you can have more of it. Michael, The Good Place. I guess that's a movie. And then there's today, October the 11th. Feeling torched. There are always going to be circumstances that lead us into emotional or creative droughts. They dry us up until one day we're just a tinder box of banality waiting to be lit up in flames. Either water that fucker or roast some marshmallows over it. So rehydrate that I love it. Okay, so if you're willing to give what you're already doing another go, what steps can you take to bring it back to life? Just keep working at it. Watch something inspirational about whatever, or read a book about it to encourage me. So if I feel burnt out about something, usually watching someone do whatever I'm burnt out about inspires me to do it. So whenever I've been burnt out with like cooking, I watch some type of Gordon Ramsay show, or someone cook something. Like if there's a YouTuber that I like that has a like cook with me video, I'll watch that and it'll make me be like, oh, I want to cook something. So burn it to the ground. Time to start fresh. If you're in a dry patch and there's no way but the scorched earth way, what will you build after the smoke clears? A more relaxed, grace-filled approach. Too much pressure leads me to feeling burnt out. So, when I rise from the ashes, or when the smoke clears, it's usually just the main thing in any area is like relax. Like even trying to get this set up for this video for you guys, I was like messing with stuff and I was just like, oh, is it right? Oh, let me see. Oh, Lord, oh, this and that. And then I was like, relax. You literally have 2. I now have 2 followers. Hey, shout out to CD. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. My day 1 rider. And I believe my newest follower's name is Angela. So shout out to you. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. It definitely gives me that extra encouragement to help me keep going, to keep doing this. And not only am I trying to help myself, I'm trying to help others as well. So thank you so much for hitting that subscribe. Thank you for supporting the channel. I just want to say, if you have enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone, leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe to the channel so we can grow together. We can go on different journeys together. My hopes is really to be able to have a community on here where we can go through these workbooks together. Because I know some of us that struggle with anxiety and depression, we're not going to go and find like a support group that we can sit down and do workbooks through. We just feel more safe in the safety of our home and, maybe watching a YouTube video or something. And then we can go out in our actual in our physical community, because this is our internet community, but into our physical community and be the beautiful light that we are, and just shine bright and shine love onto each other and not feel so anxious and not feel so depressed, throughout our lives, or when we're going somewhere, or if we're going through some struggles. So that really is my hope, is that eventually, we'll start to interact with one another, and there'll be people that will be interested in, doing the books as well, and sharing different things that maybe they got out of the book for themselves, and just help each other to just have a better life. To have a better life, to have a blessed life. So thank you so much for supporting, and thank you for watching this video. I just want you to know you matter. Peace.